Today, we're going to dive into the incredible journey of Nelson Mandela. It's a story that's not just about one man's freedom, but about how that one man's struggle reshaped an entire nation, leading to one of the most powerful and pivotal moments of the 20th century.
So picture this. The date is May 10th, 1994. We're in Pretoria, South Africa. And this isn't just any other day on the calendar. Nope, this is the day a brand new history begins, one built on the ashes of a long, painful struggle.
You have to imagine this scene. There's this massive sandstone amphitheater at the Union Buildings, and it is packed. We're talking dignitaries, leaders from over 140 countries. And why are they all there? To witness the birth of a new, multiracial, democratic government in South Africa. This was literally the moment the entire world had been waiting for.
And what's so fascinating is how every single detail that day just screamed change. You got the military, the very same forces that once enforced apartheid, now saluting a new democracy. You look up, and there are fighter jets streaking across the sky, but they're not there as a show of force. No, they're painting the sky with the colors of the brand new flag. And then you hear two national anthems being played, one for the old republic, one for the new. Just a hugely powerful gesture of reconciliation.
As Nelson Mandela stood there taking his oath, he felt this incredible mix of pride and, humility. He didn't see this as his own personal win. For him, this day was the culmination of all the suffering of his people. This victory, he knew deep down, belonged to every single person who fought and sacrificed for freedom.
So when you see this incredible scene of unity, you just have to ask, right? How did we get here? How did one man's journey become so completely intertwined with the destiny of a whole nation? Well, to really get it, we've got to go back, way back to the beginning.
Okay, so let's start our story. It doesn't begin in some political chamber or a protest. It starts in a small village in the Transkei. This is really where Mandela's long walk to freedom began.
As a boy, Mandela's world was all about simple freedoms. He was herding cattle, following tribal customs. He wasn't born with this hunger for politics. He was just born into a life that, for a little while anyway, felt completely and totally free.
But then, as he got older, that illusion of freedom, it just shattered. He started to see the invisible walls of apartheid all around him. He saw how black people were denied the most basic human rights, how their lives were made impossible, and all for one reason, the color of their skin. And that realization, it lit a fire in him. That deep, burning sense of injustice is what pushed him to join the African National Congress.
Now, joining the ANC, that was really just the first step. The road ahead was going to demand unimaginable sacrifice and force the movement to change in ways nobody could have seen coming.
You can really see the struggle escalating in stages. At first, it was peaceful, right? You had the Defiance campaign, where activists would non-violently break apartheid laws. But then came the Sharpeville massacre, where police just opened fire on unarmed protesters. That was a brutal, brutal turning point. The ANC became convinced that peaceful protest just wasn't enough anymore, so they formed a military wing. And this new path ultimately led to Mandela's arrest for sabotage.
27 years. Just think about that for a second. 27 years. More than a quarter of a century spent behind bars. That number, it just represents the immense personal price Mandela paid for his dream of a free South Africa. But his time in prison wasn't just about survival. It was also this period of really deep reflection, where he developed a philosophy that would honestly guide the entire future of his nation.
This was his big realization. Mandela came to understand that freedom is indivisible. It's simple, but so profound. He knew he couldn't truly enjoy his own freedom as long as his people were still oppressed. His personal liberation was completely tied to the liberation of everyone else. And he took this idea even deeper. He saw that apartheid didn't just lock up the oppressed, it also imprisoned the oppressor. An oppressor, he argued, is a prisoner of hatred, totally trapped behind the bars of their own prejudice. In a system like that, both sides are robbed of their humanity. And this incredible insight, well, it became the foundation for South Africa's entire journey of reconciliation.
So, through all those decades of struggle and imprisonment, Mandela's understanding of one of humanity's greatest virtues, courage, was really forged and refined.
And you know what's amazing? He never claimed courage was his own special trait. Not at all. He said he learned it from watching his fellow freedom fighters. He saw men and women risk everything, even give their lives, all for an idea. And seeing their resilience in the face of just unbelievable brutality, that's what taught him the true meaning of being brave. And all of that led him to this profound definition. For Mandela, Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the triumph over it. It's about feeling that fear and acting anyway. It's such a simple but powerful idea that, really, anyone can strive for.
His experience also taught him this really powerful paradox. Mandela came to believe that the very act of resisting injustice is what forges incredible human beings. That the intense, crushing pressure of oppression could actually produce moral giants with the most extraordinary character.
He saw firsthand that resisting injustice taught ordinary men and women these incredible qualities. It took discipline to stay on course for so long, tolerance to work with all sorts of different people and ideas, and a real generosity of spirit to keep fighting for others year after year.
And this brings us right back to where we started, doesn't it? To that incredible day in May 1994. Mandela knew as he stood there that he wasn't standing there on his own merit. He was standing on the shoulders of countless patriots, some famous but many, many unknown, whose suffering and whose courage had made that moment possible.
So in the end, Mandela's story really shows us that courage isn't something you're just born with. It's learned, it's shared, it's forged by a commitment to something bigger than yourself. And it leaves us with a question for our own lives, right? What gives us the courage to overcome our own fears and stand for what we believe is right?